Fulfillment, fulfilling your journey in life. What is happening, you amazing people? It's your pal, it's your singing career coach, HR guy, Phil. Oh, I got it right, at FulPHILLment. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It is FulPHILLment Live, Season 3, Episode 15. Can't believe we're Episode 15, and I can't believe that it is almost July. It is crazy hard to believe. For those folks who are tuning in live on LinkedIn, either on my page, Stephanie's page, my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, please comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We love all your comments. We love your positivity. We love your motivation. And that's why I love doing lives, right? This is my time and my space with our guest speakers, amazing guest speakers, to give back to you, this amazing community. This is supposed to be a safe space, so we encourage all comments to be positive and motivating and encouraging for other people. And that's what it's all about. So we've got a jam-packed, amazing, amazing episode with y'all today. We have the amazing, and she's backstage and she's amped up, ready to go, Stephanie Grabiec. Stephanie is a talent leader. She is a senior recruiter. She is a great friend. She works over at CLEAResult Canada. And we're going to talk about how to navigate your career, your job search, and your recruiting process. Because let's face it, right? We got a lot of stuff going on in society and in our world, personally, professionally, et cetera. And from a professional perspective, I wanted to bring yet another amazing SME and recruitment talent expert up on stage to chat with us today, to learn about her just uniqueness, to learn about all the insights that she can bring us in all these different areas. And as y'all know, I take lives very seriously. I take all my guest speakers very seriously. And this is, again, for you all as a means to add value to you within your toolkit, within your journey and your life, because we're all about fulfilling your journey in life and in your career and in your talent process. For those folks who don't know what fulfillment is, we do help senior and mid-level career professionals go from frustrated to fulfilled with our 8-step 101 tune-into process. And we help high-growth companies amplify their talent strategy through recruiting, selection, and retention. We love doing what we do. We've got some awesome updates, too, coming out. So I do want to just say stay tuned for next week. We have amazing, amazing updates to come. We've got amazing Felipe, my dear, wonderful HR executive friend and mentor here. What's up, Phil? Watching from DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Thanks for tuning in, brother. We appreciate you. For those folks tuning in too, please let the comments, bring out your comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, all that good jazz. We're going to bring Stephanie up on stage. Stephanie, you are live with us, my friend. What's going on?
Honestly, I was jamming backstage. It's great music.
It's funny because, I use Restream, right? And I have a standard package of Restream, and Restream's great. And I learned like maybe 5-6 months ago, they've got this like music section, me with music. And it's like AI generated music. So of course I picked the chill category and I just push play. And it just generates all randomized AI stuff. So like there's no copyright infringement. It's just like, yeah. So I'm glad you jamming with us today, backstage and up front on stage.
If you would have seen me, I was just like sitting there, I'm like, just like jamming out.
You're like, hey, what's going on? Well, I couldn't see you, and I know the audience couldn't see you. So doing your thing, like that's all good. So, oh my goodness. So of course, I briefly introduced yourself, but for those folks tuning in live and on the replay, tell them who you are and let us know your story, my friend.
Well, as Phil said, my name is Stephanie Grabiec. I am a senior recruiter at CLEAResult Canada. I have been in the HR space for about 8-9 years now, and I've specialized in recruitment for about 3.5 years. If you want my, interview elevator pitch, I could dive back into my extensive background in retail management, but that's my previous career.
Dig deep. Let folks know the story. I love it. We got time, so.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I did start my retail management career relatively early. I was, I think, maybe 20 years old, 21 years old. And I started, again, retail management. I was in there for a long time, which is actually what inspired me to get into HR. So I went home, I enrolled myself part-time online in courses at Algonquin College in Ottawa, Ontario, and rest is history.
Right. I love that. And it's almost like 9 times out of 10. I say 9 times out of 10 because most folks like fall into the recruitment profession or the HR profession. Would you say?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah, for the most part. And that's the thing, right? Like, I love your story. I love your journey. And I think what I love most too is just your energy and your personality, especially like through all the amazing content that you share out on LinkedIn. Like I see you every day, and we're going to obviously talk about this one theme, like how to be unique, because I want to kind of start there. And I'll piggyback after you respond, but I want to kind of ask you, right? So like for those folks like looking to make a career pivot, a career change, they're maybe in a job search. We'll kind of start on that side first. How can they really express their uniqueness as it pertains to like social media, but then also like from a job strategy perspective? So like maybe like the resume and the LinkedIn profile, like based on your expertise recruiter had on, what are some ways and strategies that folks can like really differentiate and share their uniqueness out there?
The biggest thing is if you're not, if you don't need to go back to school to make a career pivot and you are looking at moving to a different area in general, or maybe you do need to go back to school, who knows? The biggest thing is to focus on your transferable skills. People don't realize how much like life experience and your jobs that you get in high school, like customer service, serving, anything like that, those things are your transferable skills that every single person needs in every single role you could possibly imagine. Communication develops from that, organizational skills, time management. Those are what's going to kind of all the soft skills, really. And that's what's going to push you forward. So focus on those transferable skills for sure.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I have to talk about just like your uniqueness as well. Got other comments here coming too, so I want to just, they're coming off of your end of LinkedIn, so I want to at least bring those up too. Very interesting live. We got a LinkedIn user here saying, "Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in, y'all. Seriously, keep the comments coming. Let us know your feedback, all that good stuff." One of the ways that I love how you are unique in your brand, Stephanie, and for those folks who are following her on LinkedIn and social, you know what I'm talking about. For those folks who aren't, though, I have to give Stephanie a shout out because she puts stuff like, she'll always, every morning when I get on LinkedIn particularly and go to my feed, she comes up and I always see it like, did you know today is National Chocolate Day, or National Smile Day, or whatever like that. So every time I see that stuff, I'm like, that's Stephanie. Like there's no question. And that makes her so unique. So like, how did you, Stephanie, like as far as that part of your content, how did you decide you wanted to do something like that and really bring that out within your brand?
So it was almost by accident, I guess you could say. I started using LinkedIn because I got into recruitment. I started specializing in recruitment, and my mentor at the time, my first manager for recruitment, essentially, he taught me how to use LinkedIn. And shout out to JR if you're watching. And he really showed me the basics and what I needed to do. So of course I took that, ran with it, and then I start Googling because that's just what we do. And they said the best way to grow your following and to grow your brand is to be consistent and to find your niche. So I'm like, what the hell is my niche? Like everybody does recruitment. I don't know what I'm doing here. Right. So I ran every morning. I listened to the same radio station, the same morning show, because they're awesome. Shout out to Hot 89.9 Morning Hot Tub. Shameless plug though. And they randomly said one day, "Oh yeah, random celebration today." It's whatever day it was. I don't know what day that is anymore. It kind of just passes my mind there. But I thought maybe there's other days like that could be shared, and they're fun. It has nothing to do with business. It has nothing to do with finding a job. It has nothing to do with LinkedIn. It's just random. And who doesn't appreciate a fun fact, right? So I Googled that, and turns out there are multiple reasons to celebrate per day. So today, which is June 26th, was National Beautician Day. So I actually gave a shout out online to my favorite salon. Essentially, they do my nails, they do my eyebrows, and I gave a shout out to them. They're great, and I do that every day. And I have since grown, but that is just like you said, how people know me and what people expect from me. So I am starting to develop new series because I found maybe my stuff's getting a little stale. People are getting a little bored, but it is still what did set me apart from everybody else and what people now know me for. So I am going to continue it. Yeah.
I love that. And that's the other area of your niche and your brand that I love is that you've started doing that local business shout out posting as well, which I think is, I mean, me as a small business owner, like that chokes me up. And like, whenever I feel emotional, I get goosebumps and my hair sticks up like, well, this is spiked up. It's like, yeah. And whenever I see that kind of stuff, it's always interesting because it's like, okay, well, here's where Stephanie does her nails. Here's where Stephanie does her coffee. Like, it's just, and it's nice because it's a personal, a little personal touch into that. I think that's great. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So there's a question on your end that came up. So I wanted to bring that up from a LinkedIn user here. I'll read it. I'll read the whole thing. Hi, Phil and Stephanie. As someone with 13 years of experience in construction, 6 of which were in nuclear construction managerial roles, do you have any idea why I'm not receiving any offers for a site supervisor position in Canada despite not having permanent residency or a work visa?
To be honest, that is probably the reason why. Immigration has unfortunately really cracked down, and if they can find somebody that is local, they are required to go with the person who is in Canada and is ready and willing to do the work. If it's despite that, there would be a qualification in there that you may not have, but unfortunately, I think that is the biggest reason why you are not being considered for those roles, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that expertise, my friend. We got G, our good friend G in the house here, popping in from North Dallas, Texas. Love the enthusiasm to wrap up the day and loving the SMB. Yes, right? See? Prime example, the SMB shout outs that you're talking about. It's to be remembered. I think that's fantastic. I think it's excellent. And do you want to take a guess too? Here's Felipe right here back again. Hey G, Felipe, I owe you a DM, and that's the power of these lives too. People have conversations within the comments and stuff like that. What do you feel like my unique brand is, Stephanie? I'm sure you know, but like, what would you say?
Obviously, music.
Okay.
I love the play on your name. I think that is insanely smart. I love that. Anytime I see your moniker, your logo, anything, I know it's you. It's just it's uniquely you, and it's very obvious, and I think it's genius personally. Like, I don't even have a brand like that, so I probably could take some pointers from you, to be honest.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's very important to show to be unique, to find your niche. I love that, and the fact that too. I think the other thing too is doing the local business shout outs like you've done. Also encouraging and being supportive to businesses and even other people as well. I think that's fantastic, for sure. So that LinkedIn user too just here said thanks for the response. You're the best for sure. So we have another comment on your end as well. You guys taking questions from chat? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. If you got a question, just put it in the comments, and we'll definitely get to it for sure. That's why we're here. We're here to answer questions. We're here to give you insights and all that stuff. Absolutely. So type away for sure. G says, "Hey Felipe." So good. So they're conversing, having conversation as well. I think it's great. I want to shift gears a little bit, Stephanie. So we've talked about niching, um, finding your voice, all that good stuff, which is incredible. Kind of on a social media perspective, I want to talk a little bit about kind of the recruitment side of things, right? So obviously you're doing recruiting. I'm not. I did recruiting, but I want to kind of understand from your perspective as well. How can companies, right? Because we've seen out there the market's complex, right? There's talent that's looking for roles. There are companies looking to hire. How can recruiting or how can recruiters or really how can organizations, because it's really an organizational perspective, how can they differentiate, right, when it comes to how they're hiring new hires, employees, right? Candidate experience. What are ways that maybe you're doing it with your organization, or how can businesses, be more effective in that side?
Are you talking from more of like an attraction and retention point of view?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. In terms of attraction, I think transparency is one of the biggest things. My organization advertises the salaries in the roles, and I think that is absolutely huge. There are certain provinces that I know it has become a lot for pay transparency, so they are legally required to input the salary expectations in, or sorry, not the expectations, the salary range in the job description. There are some provinces and territories that unfortunately do not have to abide by that. And not all organizations don't do that. Some do it, whether it's legal or not. Illegal or not, to
Right.
not post it. Um, so I think that's the biggest thing. The other thing is making very clear and understandable, straight to the point job descriptions. Those things are, I don't want to read between the lines. I want to know exactly what you're going to want from me. And like, this is coming from somebody who does this for a living. I spent 4 months last year unemployed on the job hunt. So I do know firsthand how much it sucks for people who are looking for a role and who have been laid off and who are not working. I know it sucks. So I think the biggest thing is the transparency is huge. The manage expectations. If you do manage to get an interview or even just a quick general phone screen with a recruiter, I think understanding what the recruitment process looks like, timelines around that's going to be massive as well. I was very recently given the nicest compliment ever, and I was told that two of our managers, like our senior leaders in the company who I helped bring on board, actually said that one of the reasons they chose the company, among other things, was the fact that I was so transparent with them in the recruitment process and what that looked like. So hitting the feels, I was like, oh, that's so nice.
Right.
But I think that's massive. So pay transparency, well, transparency in general, managing expectations, and just giving a clear idea of what the company is about and what their expectations from you are.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I want to bring some of the comments that our good friend Felipe brought here as well. Let's see here. This was a good one. I like this one. It takes a special person to be able to enjoy recruitment. Your passion comes through, Stephanie.
Thank you.
He's the best. Felipe is amazing. He doesn't know this. I said this earlier. I'm going to tell him that I look up to Felipe as a mentor, whether he sees that or not. But I think now he does. he's definitely a mentor, a LinkedIn mentor of mine for sure. I look up to him for sure. We had another question too in the comments. I want to bring that out. Felipe is talking about employment branding within that, within those concepts. And then he said as well, just to bring this back, pay transparency is a huge thing, and honestly, it has been a positive thing overall. Yeah. And managing expectations, transparency. I like to kind of bring all those things and come up with one core value. And you know what that is? That is integrity. I say it, do what you say you'll do when you said you do it, right? So I say it all the time. If you are going to say, hey, I'm going to get back by the end of the week, right? And you don't, lack of integrity. So what is a good way to do that? Hey, if you don't hear back from me by Friday about next steps for your interview process or whatever, call me, right? Email me, do something like that. It's the simple things that help. We do have a couple questions. I want to bring these up too. G says, a company president bashed the heck out of it. Oh, wait, let me go back G, I'm going to get back to you because there was another question previously. Let me just do that real quick and then we'll get back to you, G. Phil and Stephanie, my name is, I hope I'm pronouncing this, Simarja Singh, and I have 1 year experience in procurement in Rio Tinto. Currently, I'm in Timmins, Ontario, as is a remote location. I'm unable to find something according to profession. Any valuable inputs on this condition?
That's a tough situation to be in. I too was in a similar situation. I am in a smaller location, which is not very close to a major, within reason, about 2 hours away from a major city. So I was forced to look for remote work because where I am is not the land of opportunity. I was very lucky and was able to get a remote job. If you're able to get a remote job, that is great. Go for it and be transparent with that too. I was very, very open with everybody I spoke to saying, hey, I'm going to be blunt with you. I need a remote work because this is what I do. This is where I'm located. It's just not feasible. And some people could accommodate that. Some people can't. And I do understand that. If that doesn't work, unfortunately, you might be put in a situation where you might have to rethink your career choice and make a pivot or consider relocation. And I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but that's the reality of it. And I get it. I've been there. So if you can find a remote role, you do it. Dig deep, go hunting, do what you need to do to find that remote job, network, do whatever you can. If not, you may have to consider other avenues.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. Thank you for that for sure. G has, let's see here, see all these comments here. Here it is right here. I'm going to find it. Question. Any thoughts about the open to work now that we're hitting, now that we're hitting 5 years since the open to work green banner rolled out? G also follows that up with a company president bashed the heck out of it the other day on a post, and it broke my heart how he referred to people using it. What are your thoughts?
I have made 2 posts publicly calling people out, basically saying, how dare you make these people feel this way? Do not be ashamed to use it at all. There is no shame in using it. If somebody wants to think that it makes somebody look desperate, then you know what? That's them. That's their opinion. They're going to think that regardless of what other people say. But as a recruiter, you actually help me out. You let me know that you are ready and able to work right now. I know that you're more likely going to answer my message if I reach out to you for a role that I have. Don't be discouraged. Don't let somebody else make you feel like you look desperate. And you know what? I was desperate. I had my green banner open. Like, I didn't care. That's fine. But don't let anybody make you feel that way. It's not okay for them to sit there and say that. I don't agree with it, but you can't stop other people from doing what they're going to do. So try to let that roll off your shoulders. Do you want to work for a place like that?
Right. Yeah, that's the number one thing I ask myself. It's like, well, if I were looking for work actively, I'm always passively looking, but I'm not actively. But if I was actively looking and I had it up, yeah, is that company going to be a company that is truly going to welcome me and include me, right?
Yep.
Just because of a banner I have on a picture,
right? Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I like that. We do have more questions coming into. I want to keep it going here. Yeah, Felipe, he's amazing. Yes, he does give a lot to the masses. Absolutely. And G, you do as well, too, by the way. So remember that. All these folks here give to the masses. That's the thing. I say this all the time. We all have value. We all have impact. Value for value, support for support. That's what this is all about. All right, so we got another question here. I'll read it. I'd love to know, as recruiters in Canada, how valuable is foreign hiring experience, which is actually done for North American market with global clients? Like you said, Stephanie, it does feel like local people are being preferred, but how do you have that edge in your application and interviews being on a work permit and similar hiring experiences on the job description?
The way I see it at the end of the day is, if you are in the area that I need you to be in and you can do the job, and you appear to be the best candidate that I have available to me, then you're the one that's going to get the job. I think it really comes down to how you present yourself. It's going to come down to those interview skills and the way you answer the questions. Unfortunately, and I shouldn't even say unfortunately, but now it's all how you present yourself and how you deliver the information. You can be the most qualified person in the world, and if you are not able to convey why you are qualified and how you were doing things, then the person who could convey that, even if they have less qualifications than you, but can still do the job, they're going to get that role. And I think that's one of the things that we need to consider is how we deliver this information. How do we tell them we have this experience? Not stories, but what life experience can I tell them? What situations have I been in that will answer these questions? So I think that's what we need to focus on.
I like that. I like that a lot. Focus on the value and the impact that you can bring and the experiences that you've done that have added value to the previous organizations that you've worked at, but also what you're going to bring to the table to that next company. Like, that's really, in my opinion, that's the most important when it comes to interviewing. It is, yes, a lot of, okay, here's what I've done from whence I came, but really going in there and saying, hey, here's how I'm going to add value to you guys as far as the differentiation. That's huge. I think that's important.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. Got another question. We got a couple of questions. This is great. Keep them coming. Let me just see. I'm going to just go to a couple of comments here real quick. Thank you, G, for the comment prior. G says as well, wow, Steph, I need to catch up on your post. You're officially in my hero sphere. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I need to connect with some of these people in your network. You got a great network.
And right back at you too. I'm loving the paired comments that are coming, all the very educational, detailed questions from your network too. I'm definitely going to do the same for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Felipe says great advice as well. G says you two are awesome. Thanks for addressing this. People need to hear. Yes, 1,000%. about the banner for sure. We appreciate y'all seriously. Felipe mentioned community you have built. Well, and that's the thing. The power of this place and doing lives and just the community. We all have our own community, but when we do lives and we do things like that, we're bringing all of our communities together in this room, which is incredible. That's the power of it all. I'm going to go back to some of these questions, Stephanie. Let's see. Here we go. Got a LinkedIn user here. Says, as for an HR professional, which is more important, a candidate who has worked on many projects by changing roles every 1 to 1.5 years, or a candidate who has worked on fewer projects but has stayed from start to finish, gain deeper experience in each? Should candidates put every information on the CV resume, or should they just put relevant, or just the relevant experience?
I think that's really dependent on what the company that you're looking to join wants, essentially. Like if they're looking for somebody who's done beginning to end work, then yes, you want to make sure that you focus on that. If they're looking for someone who has diverse experience and maybe you have worked in all aspects of it, but you haven't done start to finish, then maybe that's what they need. So I think that can be very dependent on the job description itself. And that would be how you would tailor your resume. So if the job description's vague, you could always try reaching out to the recruiter if you know who they are on LinkedIn and asking for more specifics and just let them know, like, hey, this is a little vague. I just kind of want to know what experience specifically you're looking for. Is it this? Is it that? Let me know. But it's going to be dependent on the role specifically. Yeah. And again, that's going to determine how you're going to tailor your resume. There's no right or wrong experience there. It's just dependent on what they want.
I like that. What are they specifically asking for? What if they are? That's why, to your point before, the transparency, the managing expectations, the integrity on the job description. Like on the flip side, they also have to show specifically what they're looking for and what they want to see. So I like that. I like that a lot. Another question came in here. Hello. Do you have recommendations for someone looking for an entry-level position? Currently, it seems this is a good question. It seems as though entry-level postings require, but 2 to 3 years experience.
So entry level is 0 years of experience. 2 to 3 years is junior. There is a very big difference. I do know that there are certain, and I'm not sure if it's LinkedIn, but I know that certain platforms, the way they advertise it, it will automatically show there is no junior option. It'll say entry level, then go straight to intermediate, but there is that in between there. And then the entry level, unfortunately, that's all that they can really choose, which is why they need 2 to 3 years of experience. So that's more of a platform error or whatever you want to call it. But if it is marked as entry level, there is absolutely no need for experience. Maybe education. Absolutely, dependent on the type of role that it is. But I even ask my hiring managers this when I do intakes with them. I'm like, your job description says entry level. Like, is it truly entry level? Do you care if they have experience? And usually they'll tell me, no, that's fine. Or 0 to 1 year, because then they'll take somebody who's maybe got that little bit of experience, but they are perfectly fine with somebody who has none. If they tell me, no, I want somebody that has 2 to 3 years of experience, then I'm telling them straight up, and I'm going to do it. I'm removing entry level because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be that person that says something and then does something else. Maybe I've done that in the past unintentionally because God knows I'm not perfect, but I don't want to be that person that preaches one thing and then does another. So I'm hardcore standing by that, is that if they say entry level and they still want years of experience, entry level terminology is being removed.
I like that. And I like how you are standing ground to that at your employer. I think that's huge. I think that's important.
They're very good about that, though. I have to admit, my hiring managers, they trust me, which I am so grateful that they trust me.
Yes. But of course.
Yeah, but they trust me and they know that I'm the professional in that situation. But I always defer to them as well. Like, okay, if you want them to have 2 to 3 years experience, that's fine. We just need to change up some of the terminology.
Good. I like that. Felipe has a question for you. Stephanie, what is your recommendation to those messaging recruiters and using those letters AI to do so?
I am not opposed to using AI. Everybody uses AI every day.
Yeah.
What I'm opposed to is the generic message that you're sending me and you're not putting any thoughts into it. The only thing I want to see from somebody, unless I've specifically asked them to send me a resume, is I want to see maybe 3 sentences max. I want to know why you're messaging me, and I want to be able to provide you an answer. But if you're going to send me a novel, if you're going to send me paragraphs in your resume and all of this unsolicited stuff, I'm sorry, I just don't have time. I really do not have time to read that. And it's not that I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to help you out. It's nothing like that. It solely comes down to timing. So if you want to connect with me, totally cool. Just say, hey, saw you liked your stuff. Like, I want to be part of your network. Great, that's awesome. If you need something from me, get to the point. Don't say, hi, how are you, and leave it at that. Don't give me a novel with your resume telling me to help you find a job. Get to the point. Tell me what you need. I appreciate people being blunt and quick and straight to the point.
Ask for the order. I like that. I like it. Get to the point. 3 sentences is great. Yeah, no, that's great. Because again, we'll go back to that differentiation and that how to be unique, right? I'll take it a step further. I like the 3 sentence thing. Make one of those sentences as well, like a piece of value, right? Like, why should I recruiter, or why should Stephanie recruiter, why should she reach out, right? Why should she take the time to respond, right? So if you make that differentiation, you make that uniqueness, they're more likely to reach out to you and respond and say, yeah, hey, absolutely, let's connect, that kind of stuff. Great question, Felipe. Great response. My friend, awesome. We got more questions. Let's see here. Okay, make sure I've got them in order. Do Canadian recruiters prefer long, well-explained resumes or just one-page concise?
It really depends on your experience. I don't want to read a book, but if you can fit it on, if it has to go on more than one page, I'm fine with a 2-pager, I'm fine with a 3-pager, but I need to know that the stuff in there is relevant to
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. If you have experience in there that is not relevant at all, then I don't really care about it. If it's got transferable skills and I need to see those skills that are listed, absolutely. Okay, then yes, absolutely do that. But I don't want to see your experience all the way back to high school and you are now pushing 40 and that, you did retail for a year at this one place and then you did this at another place for 6 months. To me, that experience is starting to become irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you did retail for a significant amount of time, 100%. Yeah, I want to see that because you clearly have good skills to have been in that position for a little while. So if it comes to a 1-page, if you can fit it on 1 page, great. If it has to be 2 pages, that's cool too. I'm even fine with a 3-pager. The only thing you shouldn't be putting on there is references upon request because we already know that. And I don't want to see an objective. Your objective is to get the job. And we know that.
Yep.
So that's taking up valuable space on your resume. Oh, and no pictures. Don't put a picture in the Canadian market, and I'm sure it's in the US market as well. It is not custom to put your picture on a resume. So for anybody who might be coming from a place where that is custom to do that, along with maybe your marital status, your birth date, things like that, remove those. They are taking up valuable space on your resume. So where you might have a 4 or 5-pager, if you remove those things, you can cut that down to 2 or 3. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I love that. Clear, concise, compelling is kind of the 3C approach that I do with my clients over here in the US. Yeah, clear. I'm all about analogies. 3Cs, tune into, right? All that kind of stuff.
I'm actually going to write that down. I like that.
3Cs, clear, concise, and compelling. That's what I tell folks in my coaching and stuff within my content. And look, we both have I've hired people with a page. I've hired people here in the US. I'm in the US, right? So I've hired people with page. I've hired people with 3. I've hired somebody with 6 pages, but all the information was relevant to the position that they were applying to and relevant to what my hiring managers, right? What they needed to have, must-haves, nice-to-haves, etc. So I love that response. I think that's fantastic. Let's see. Let's keep going. All these questions, all these amazing questions from y'all. Y'all are great. Here we go. We've got one here. I have a quick question. I'm an architect with over 6 years experience in my home country, but I'm new to Ottawa. Currently facing some challenges finding a role in the field. I also need to go through the diploma equivalency process. Stephanie, do you have any advice or tips that could help?
That can be tough, especially if maybe your specific education isn't recognized here and you do need to get that conversion essentially. Um, I don't know. I've never worked with architects, so I don't have a lot of experience in that area. So I'm not really sure of the requirements for something like that. To be honest, I just don't want to give advice where I know nothing. But coming from another country and you're in a new country where you don't have much, it's not easy. So I commend you for first being here. Good for you. I think that's
Yes.
amazing. But take what you can get right now and then build yourself up and work yourself into that architect position. So if you need to take a role in customer service just while you get yourself, on your feet, there is nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's going to help you network. That's going to get you that Canadian experience. But at the end of the day, the experience shouldn't matter where it's from, as long as you can do the job. I know that in certain roles, it can be based on laws, and it can be based on what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm thinking like building codes. Like I don't know what else to call that. The word's slipping my head.
No, you're good.
So things like that, which can be extremely different. Standards, there we go. That those things can be extremely different. So if you don't have that experience, that could be what's hindering you. But at the end of the day, keep doing you, man. Keep getting yourself out there and network. Do what you need to do, and you will get that role. I know it's tough right now, but just keep doing it.
Love it. Never give up. Talked about that the other day in my video post. Keep going, all that good jazz. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love the 3C approach. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. We got another user for contact me. So here you go. You've got somebody who has some expertise in it. That's great. I think that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That makes me happy.
That's awesome. Now that's the power of it all right here. All right. So let's see. We've got one. We got time for a couple more, and then we'll have to wrap up here. So I'm going to get these. There's 2 questions here left in the comments, and then after these last 2, that's all we're going to have time for, I think. So, all right. I work for 2 companies on contract basis, and they never extended their contracts. It's just because the job was already done. Now, when I get asked about why it's not extended, does it decrease my chances of being selected for a permanent position? I've been in I've been in the data analyst field for 3 years.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
A contract is a contract that they end to no fault of your own. You go into it knowing it has an end date. Sometimes they end sooner rather than later. Sometimes they are extended. But at the end of the day, that is no fault of your own, just because you took a contract role to do a job and it just didn't happen to be a permanent role. There's no negatives to that at all.
Right.
I'm sure if you have that written on your resume or on LinkedIn where it says it's a contract, I don't see why anybody would question why you left that job. To me, it's pretty obvious that it was a contract. It ended. But I also don't ask that question to candidates. I normally do not ask why people left their previous role. I personally don't think that's any of my business. Yeah. Normally people are forthcoming with that, but it's a contract. It's not going to hinder your chances at all.
I agree 1,000%. And, one of the things I'll kind of, with that question, like, oh, well, why did you leave your previous employer? Or why are you leaving your same thing. I don't ask it. The way I ask that question, instead of, as a recruiter hat on, instead of asking it that way, I more or less say, well, what excites you about wanting to work for our company? Or what excites you about looking for your next opportunity, right? Like flip it to a positive, right? Because sometimes, we're wanting to leave for, all sorts of different reasons, right? Maybe the culture's not great. Maybe our manager's right? Maybe we're just not fulfilled, right? Fulfilled in our role, right? And you're right. It's not that employer's business, but to really, if we can flip it and say, from a recruiting side, what is exciting about you looking for your next role, and what's going to lift you up? So that way, if you're able to answer those things, what's going to really bring you career fulfillment, right, in your new role, then the company will have that information. So I think that's another way that on the company side that they can ask that question and maybe pitch it a little differently, which is great. That's good stuff. Yeah, Rafat says thank you to the LinkedIn user who's going to reach out. So that's awesome. Good value there. What would also be a tip you would give apart from just applying off a career site and job boards? Like what really works to be noticed? Any tips would be appreciated.
First and foremost, I think the biggest thing anybody can do when applying for a role is to apply directly on the company's page. That is what's going to get you in front of the recruiters or the hiring manager, whoever is reviewing your resume. That's going to get to them a lot faster. If you're applying to jobs on Indeed, okay, it's a huge platform that many people use. Not all organizations, ATS, which is an applicant tracking system, which is what recruiters use, not all of them are integrated with Indeed. So if you're applying on Indeed, your application may not necessarily be going to the careers site, which is where the recruiters or the hiring managers, whoever's reviewing your stuff, go to first. It would actually be on Indeed. So once they finish reviewing all the applicants that are on their careers page for the company, then they're going to go to Indeed and review those people there. But if they already have 10 people that they think look great, they're not going to be going anywhere else at that point. So always apply on the careers page if you can. I think that's probably the best thing you can do. And then if you happen to know who the recruiter is, just let them know that you've applied. Don't ask them, here's my resume, let's set up some time. No, just say, hey, I saw this role, it was advertised, I saw that you're the recruiter, I have applied, and just leave it at that. Shows your interest.
And I'll also take it a step further. You see that LinkedIn Easy Apply out there for job positions that have that? Same thing. There's only one exception, though, in my opinion, right? We're talking about the Easy Apply. If you apply and do an Easy Apply, same thing. It's just going into a LinkedIn project on the back end for the recruiter side. Now, if you try to do your research on that company and maybe they don't have an applicant tracking system, like if they don't have a formal careers page, then I think it's okay to do an Easy Apply, but the exact same thing for sure. So I think that's great advice for sure. Felipe also is taking that. It's a secondary ATS for most. Yep, that sings true for sure. Absolutely. Felipe too, just getting his HR expertise into the conversation. Career page before LinkedIn, Easy Apply or Indeed. Yep. He concurs. Absolutely. We appreciate that, Felipe. Perfect. Let's see. So we talked about that. Let's see. One more. We have time for one more, and then we got to wrap up here. So I think we've got one question. So any additional questions that come in after this last question, feel free to put in the comments that on this live, either on my page or on Stephanie's page, and we'll get back to you and we'll respond to you. If you need to ask confidentially, you can, of course, DM Stephanie or myself, and we will get back to you when we can, okay? All right, this will be the final question, then we're going to wrap up here. Very, very good questions, y'all. Seriously, this has been awesome. About the resume, at times listing your experience feels more like listing KRAs, like in a job description, right? Quantifications don't always work. What would you suggest the experience pointers be structured as for recruitment professionals, excuse me?
Always going to come down to what the qualifications are in a job description. Job descriptions will have two types of qualifications. One is going to be a mandatory, one is going to be a nice to have. A lot of the time, the educational piece will not outweigh the experience. So if you don't have the education in said position, but you have all of that experience, that's not going to be a mandatory skill. However, hypothetically, like you're a driver, okay, I don't care that you have driven 7 different types of vehicles. I want to know, do you have that license? So I don't need to see that you have 7 different types of experience with these 7 different types of vehicles. I get whatever, I'm just making stuff up at this point.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But I need to know you have a license. That is going to be a mandatory qualification that I need you to have. It's all going to come down to the job description itself and really determining what's mandatory, what's not mandatory, and wording that in your resume in a way that point blank just stands out and shows the recruiter or the hiring manager right away that you possess those skills.
Yeah.
Hey, that's great. I think you've increased sales by 40%. If you're in a sales role, that's really important. Then yes, you're going to want to say that, and you're going to want to quickly say how you did that. But if that's really not what the role is, then you don't really need something like that.
Agreed. And the way I talk about it with my career coaching clients over here is A plus H, achievements, and then how you achieve that achievement. So don't just give me the duty, right? Give me the achievable result that you did for that particular bullet that's relevant to what they're looking for, the job, and then explain how you did. Very, very, very short. Again, clear, concise, compelling. That's great. That's awesome. Let's see what I've got here. Thank you for the session. We love connect. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're getting some thank yous here. We got G saying, thanks for the energizing boost for the job seekers. Fantastic show. Diane Newman, my good friend. Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. Do you have time for one more? I think we do. It's only 10 till. We'll do one more. This will be the last one, y'all. Okay. All right. We got one more and then we'll wrap up because I do have a final question that I like to ask all my guest speakers for the audience to grab hold of as well. All right. I have what to do with recent graduates because each and every job posting has requirements about 3+ experiences. What can graduates do for gain? So this is kind of back to the entry level, I think 3+ years topic we talked about, but try to bring that back if you could, Stephanie. 3+ experience. What can graduates do for gaining that much experience if they're not getting the job in the first place?
That's a very valid question. I know there's memes going on about it. It's like, yeah, we're, just out of high school, great, but we need you to have 10+ years of experience in this thing that's only been around for 3 years and stuff like that. And I get it. It's frustrating. It sucks. Try looking for terminology, wording, even titles that specifically say entry level or new grad, things like that. Those are going to be your main things that you're going to need to look for. Unfortunately, not all organizations have the capacity to bring on somebody like that, but some do. Some do, and then they want the junior people because they want to develop them. They want them to grow within the organization, which is great, but not all companies have a requirement at this very moment for that type of role. So again, look for entry level, look for new grad, look for titles dependent on the job, of course, look for titles that say assistant or coordinator. Those are where you're going to get the more junior entry level roles. At the end of the day, if they're looking for somebody with 2 to 3 years of experience, apply anyway and just kind of show how you have that experience, whether that be through a co-op program that you did with your school, whether that be transferable skills you've obtained elsewhere, through your education. That's going to be your best way to get into that. But I do think job descriptions are the biggest thing is going to be looking at those years, and sometimes it's not always accurate. Sometimes they don't need 3 years of experience. They just didn't edit it well enough.
Yep, agree. And I like that. I like that point of, if you've got to bring in some experience from like education that shows relevant, because again, if it shows relevancy, I think it's fine. Like share it, put it out there, right? If it's relevant to what they're looking for, 1,000%, I would say put that out there for sure. And sometimes too, and I've said this to clients as well. Sometimes we, the job seeker, I'm going to say this very transparently, but I think you'll get it. Sometimes we, the job seeker, or we, the candidate, we have to kind of explain to the org, like, hey, I may not have all 3 years experience. I might have 2, but I did this project in my first role, or I did this project in education or university or what have you, that is relevant that I want to talk about like in the interview. Right. And showing that, that I'll say proof, right. Or showing that value from that angle. That's helped influence, me as a recruiter and hiring managers as well, to be like, all right, well, yeah, they may not have the 3, they're close to it, but they have this awesome thing they did in the university, or they have this awesome thing they did in their spare time that's awesome, that could be really cool and valuable to our organization. So it's not so black and white, it's not.
It's back to what I had said before about mandatory versus nice to haves.
Yeah.
So years of experience, that is always flexible. Unless it's a unionized role where you 100% have to have that mandatory years of experience, the years of experience are always flexible within reason, but they are always flexible.
Within reason. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so we always love to ask our guest speakers here on FulPHILLment Live this final question. For those folks tuning in live and for those folks on the replay, we still got amazing people here. What's that key takeaway, my friend Stephanie, that you want to give to the audience and why? What's something that they can take home with them?
If you are a job seeker and you are struggling finding your next role, please don't give up. I understand how frustrating it is and how tiring it is and how being a job seeker is a full-time role in itself. Just keep going. Keep going. It might take some time, but do not give up.
I love it. I love it. Do not give up. And I think I'd say too, like, do not give up hope, because one of the biggest themes that I receive a lot of, again, I help the career professional go from frustrated to fulfilled, but there are folks out there who, and again, a lot of it is at no fault of their own, because just the market's complex, it's crazy.
Yes.
They've lost hope, right? And I think too, we can try not to lose hope in that, right? Don't give up, but don't give up hope either. And in instances or days where I'm just feeling blue, or I'm like, I'm not my positive self, most days I'm positive, right? I reach out to people that I know, family, friends, etc. I've got a list of maybe 10 people upstairs in my office, handwritten, and I can reach out to any of those people out there. Even folks on LinkedIn, I've got an inner circle and close community on LinkedIn. It's like with Stephanie. If I needed anything, I'd reach out to Stephanie and say, hey, can we talk about this? Or, oh, can I vent with you about this thing? So find your people, folks. Find your people. I love that takeaway. Audience, you have been amazing. We love your questions, your insights. If you're tuning in live, please let us know where you're tuning in from. And if y'all have any other questions, feel free to shoot them in the comments or send us a DM. We, of course, always love to share where you can find Stephanie. Of course, on LinkedIn, I've got a QR code here. So if you've got your cell phone, you can scan that QR code. Please connect with Stephanie. Folks in my community who are not connected with Stephanie, please take your phone and do that right now. I also have her link as well, her URL, if you will, to her LinkedIn page, which is right here. LinkedIn.com/in. Got to remember the /in/Stephanie Grabiec. So please, y'all connect with Stephanie. She's amazing. She's awesome. And of course, I have to shout out her organization where she does recruiting. They do have her website, www.CLEAResult.ca. If you go there, they've got a careers page. Check out those roles. You've got a recruiter now in network that you can reach out to. Please. And somebody scanned the QR code, so thank you for doing that and connecting with Stephanie. Where else can we find you? Anywhere else, Stephanie, you want folks to go to?
Honestly, LinkedIn is going to be the main place that everybody can get a hold of me. Yeah, shout out to my company. Honestly, one of the best companies I've ever worked with in my life. So I would recommend anybody, whether you want to work for the Canadian portion, visit the Canadian site. CLEAResult also started in Texas, so it is originally an American company. So if you are in the US market looking for a role, check out CLEAResult.com and look at the careers page. You will not be disappointed with this organization.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, folks in the US, now you've got Stephanie as a good point of, as an amazing, awesome point of contact. I know. I had to stop myself there for a second. I'll put your LinkedIn URL just back on there. But yeah, folks, please do connect with Stephanie. She's great. If you're not connected with me either, please also connect with me as well. If you go to LinkedIn or even Google and you just type in FulPHILLment with two L's, FulPHILLment, you can find me all over. I'm all over social. My LinkedIn URL, if I can find it here, it is, I've got all these different like things on the back end. Let me just get that real quick here. Mine is linkedin.com/in/fulfillment. So please connect with me as well. I do have a QR code also. So always open to connecting with folks and learning from you and all that good jazz. We both are for sure. Folks, we have some awesome updates to share too on the fulfillment end. I'm going to share the updates next week. So we're growing and we're transforming the business FulPHILLment over here. More to come on that next week. It's going to be incredible. We have our newsletter coming out soon, the FulPHILLment Voice. It's going to be a LinkedIn newsletter. I'm in process of getting that created, but it's going to be incredible. We're going to talk about recruitment and job search insights on there. I'll probably post once a month. So stay tuned on that. And I have a free career coaching course as well on my website, fulfillment.com/online career course. Folks, this is a free 30-minute course. This course has helped people land jobs, particularly if you are here in the US. If you need a boost in your job search or your career, this is the course to access. I'm telling y'all, get on it. This is huge. My website also right there is a QR code. Scan that if you are interested in learning more about FulPHILLment. We are here and happy to help. Stephanie, thank you truly for your insights. This has been powerful. Thank you for answering all of our questions and the comments and everything like that. We appreciate it. Any last words you'd like to say before we sign off?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everyone who joined. I couldn't believe how many people joined. Greatly appreciated. And again, shameless plug, if you decide to go to the CLEAResult careers page, whether in the US or Canada, send me a message with the job ID that you applied to. And if it's not my role, I will tell the lead recruiter that you have applied.
Do you hear that, folks? She will. And I know this firsthand because she is full of integrity. So y'all, you're going to have somebody in your corner. So I'm telling you that right now, y'all. So I say that truthfully and honestly. Stephanie is incredible. Incredible. Thank y'all. Seriously, truly. Thank you so much. I'll get some comments out here. Thank you. Truly, truly, truly. Stephanie, this has been awesome. We are going to keep this up on LinkedIn. Of course, it is going to live on my YouTube channel forever. So if y'all go to my YouTube page, just go to YouTube and type in FulPHILLment, FulPHILLment. You'll see this as the most recent episode. It's already there. And without further ado, we're going to duck out of here. Stephanie, you are amazing. Stay backstage for me, with me for a few minutes or so. Just hang tight. But